So Paul, chapter 4 of the ebook defines the new normal and its implications for global developments. Can you define the new normal for us?
Certainly will. Originally, it came up from PIMCO, the world's largest bond fund managers, who were talking about it leading to a world of lower debt, lower spending and lower growth rates in the developed world. What we've done is really to take that a stage further and look at it in terms of lifestyles and demographics. So really relating it to the aging baby boomers and how, with an aging population coming up now to a third of the Western world being in the 50 plus age group, as opposed to a third or more being in the peak spending age group, how this is going to shift demand patterns for the future.
Okay, well, what does the new normal mean for emerging economies?
A pretty dramatic shift, just as we're going to see, or we're already seeing, a dramatic shift here in the West. Because up till now, Western companies have focused on the luxury end, the top markets in China, the very small number of people. What this means is the emerging economies are now going to start focusing on their own rural and lower income domestic populations, therefore quite different types of products. Lots of opportunities, but quite different from selling high-end BMWs and products like that.
Okay. Should we, in a developed world, feel guilty about the decadent decades we've enjoyed? What does the future hold for us?
It's interesting, Will. There's definitely a sense among aging baby boomers now, cabinet ministers here in the UK and elsewhere, saying, what have we done with all this money over the last 20 or 30 years? What have we achieved for the world? And by the way, what are we handing on to our children? Loads of debt and unsustainable lifestyles. I'm not sure I share it, but I think it's a very powerful area, and it leads into concepts of sustainability, which are going to be very important for the future, I think.
What about global megatrends?
Well, exactly, Will. I think what we're going to be looking at now is we're not going to be looking at the baby boomers boosting consumption in the way they had. The next wave of great global growth is going to come from shared value kind of concepts, the kind of thing that Professor Michael Porter is talking about. Let's do things around the water availability and quality in the emerging world. Let's do things about finding new opportunities with increasing life expectancy in the developed and developing world. Transportation, much more affordable transport, things like the nano car, these sort of areas. So big opportunities, but quite a shift in mindset. And that's really what we've got to try and get our heads around, and that's what we talk about, John Richardson and myself, in this chapter of the book.
So there could be some massive opportunities for the chemical industry in following these mega trends, I guess.
Oh, exactly, and I think this is going to be the moment when the really powerful chemical companies with a long-term view separate themselves from the short-termist players. If you think the world is somehow going to go back to a stimulus program and suddenly we're going to start selling lots and lots of cars and lots of houses to young people in the West, well, you're going to be sadly disappointed because the young people don't exist. On the other hand, if you're prepared to take a few risks and say, what about doing something a bit more useful? What about providing a bit of hygiene to people in emerging economies? What about providing some products for people who are getting into their 60s and are very much underserved at the moment in Western markets? What about looking at some of those opportunities? Take a bit of a risk, in other words, but potentially get a very big reward. This is what the great chemical companies of the past have done, and this is what the great chemical companies in the future are going to start doing now. It's a very exciting time.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thank you, Will.